You're listening to ChainLeak, the crypto news podcast with your host, Joshua Roomsberg. Follow and subscribe today.
Welcome to the ChainLeak podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Roomsberg. Today's episode is about Reactor AI meets blockchain, presented by ARK. Today's guest, Tj Dunham. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, Joshua. How you doing? Thanks for having me here.
You guys have a product that is getting ready to release. Could we talk about that a little bit and give an introduction to the Reactor?
Absolutely. The Reactor is the world's leading AI model when it comes to efficiency, when it comes to the energy costs it took to train it, as well as fine tune it. And we are also leading on several metrics like the MMLU, the Big Bench Hard, and the Human Eval, all landing within the top 3 of the best AI models out there.
Okay, now let me stop you there. When you think about your competition, when you were building out the infrastructure for Reactor, you mentioned the power that it took to build and the compute power. How did you get to a point where you felt confident competing with what else is on the market?
Yeah, Reactor is a foundational large language model built on top of some of our novel technologies here at ARK. So Originally, we weren't focused on building an AI model. We were actually focused on securing blockchain. So what we developed was an ontological engine to break down the semantics and the code of all the smart contracts out there. And when we realized what we had built and that we could apply it to base level LLMs and base level AI models, we pivoted. And that's how we got to where we are today with the Reactor, which is our flagship model.
Okay. Now with the Reactor, you guys are getting ready to launch this product within the next week or two. When can users expect to get full access to the platform?
It'd be July 16th.
Okay. Now, when a user comes in to use Reactor, what do they sign up with? Do they use a username, a password, a social media account, their Gmail? What does that look like for logging into the platform?
Yeah, so we wanted to eliminate as many barriers as possible. So email, they can just use normal Google sign-in. You can use Telegram, Discord, and X.
Now, are there any security aspects or vulnerabilities by using any of these specific sign-in methods?
No, we use the same sign-in APIs that every other company uses whenever people try to sign in using that account. So nothing custom on our end, and we actually have extra features built into the backend after sign up that help secure the user's data more once they're actually using the product as well.
Okay. Do you guys have the ability for two-factor authentication or physical login keys?
So not yet, but what we're focused on in the future is building fully homomorphic models. So we won't even need to build 2FA. We won't even need to build device keys like YubiKey, probably what you're thinking about. The user will actually just have their own keys, and the model will be fully encrypted. So once the model's out there and the user gives it's their data, then it's fully private, and we won't have any access to that data or to that model.
Now, when it comes to your ability to search and create different codings within the Reactor, are there any limitations as far as censorship?
So when it comes to censorship, there's quite a bit out there. On one end of the spectrum, you have GPT-4o, or OpenAI. Their models in general tend to lean really heavy to the left side, right?
Yep.
And then you have models like the free speech models, the smaller models that sit on like uncensored.ai. who lean really heavily to the right side. And what we do with ours is we wanted to answer the user as accurately as possible, giving evidence for both sides.
Okay.
So, yeah.
No, that sounds great, because I do see, like, when you use Google's AI features, there's a lot of limitations there for, I don't know if it's necessarily their viewpoint or if they're restricting based on specific keywords, but there are a lot of things that you think would be normal searches that you're not able to do. So when you think about a blockchain centric AI model, that I'm trying to comprehend what types of limitations you guys have.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our models are really, I mean, I don't want to sell myself too much here, but they're really going to be unlimited, in a sense. You're going to, in the future, be able to have our models on every single device in your network. You're going to be able to combine those on-device models. You're going to have a private cluster of your own models for your life or for your company. I mean, of course, there is certain limitations, like our models are trained not to commit violence or teach the user how to commit violence or how to make poison or anything like that. But yeah, when it comes to censorship, you know, we're right down the middle, where we try to give accurate answers with evidence for both sides.
I appreciate that. Being straight up with the end consumer about what the information they're looking up is, whether it's good or bad, you giving them both angles. I think that's very unique. Now, when you look at Reactor as a competitor of, say, ChatGPT 4.0, what types of comparisons and differences do you see between the two products?
Well, I can say, for one, we're definitely much faster. And based off some of the videos that you've posted, Joshua, I mean, you've seen that for yourself.
Yeah.
We're more accurate. We can provide better links to data, so we can cite our sources better instead of just asking the user to trust us. And of course, we're much more efficient as well when it comes to energy use. Speculators out there say that GPT might use around anywhere from just under a kilowatt to a kilowatt and a half of energy per response, and we use a tenth of a watt. I mean, we're almost completely carbon neutral with our model.
Now, when you expand and say you have 100,000 users using the platform, when you expand your data sets and the amount of information you guys have to save, does that also affect the wattage per hour?
So it will, absolutely. So right now, the server that we have, of course, it's limited to a certain amount of queries per second. And once we hit a certain number of users, we're going to have to get a new server. Now, the answers per question should still hover around the same average, because at the end of the day, it's still the same model. It's the same data set. Whether there's more users or not, each answer should be around the same average energy usage, as well as speed and accuracy, which is the most important things for a user's performance in general.
When you think about the servers themselves and the potential for having to upgrade in the future, could you see Arc moving to a decentralized infrastructure in the future?
Absolutely. One of our big focuses is moving towards a future where people will have on-device models. So you'll be able to have are you Android or iPhone, Josh?
I'm Android.
Android. You'll be able to have a model that sits on your Android phone. You'll be able to see how much energy it consumes, and it's only going to be using the resources available on your phone. And it'll connect to your other devices. So IoT, your PC, your Chrome extension that you have built into your PC. And those devices will communicate with each other through a homomorphic encrypted network, which basically means that all of your devices will work together. They'll have AI models that collaborate. and they'll be updated over time. It's just Arc. We won't be able to see the updates. We won't be able to see the data that goes into that. So yeah, I mean, it'll absolutely be decentralized.
Okay. Because I used to work with a variety of different Oracle networks for different blockchains. And I think about the infrastructure that they have built out by holding these nodes on the different networks and what types of data is held there. If you could train an AI model and put that data set into a decentralized infrastructure, I think that'd be unique as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's a big part of our token utility going into the future is they're going to have these models on their phones, on their PCs, on their home devices. And we want people to be able to be compensated for their data if they share their data with us, which will allow us to train better models, but then also build our token utility all the time.
Okay, now when it comes to the token utility, do users have the ability to earn for training the models or using the platform itself in the future?
Yeah. Yeah. It's all through a program called Earn with Arc. If the user holds Arc and they're connected to our platform, they're using it, they'll be able to earn a share of the overall revenue that comes into the DeFi ecosystem.
Oh, that's cool. So it's based on the overall amount of users that are coming to the platform?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you come to the payment structure, would it be the ability to pay both crypto and fiat? Or
Yeah.
are you sticking with fiat off top?
So in the beginning, we're going to be fiat only.
Okay.
By beginning, I mean 2 weeks or so. We move very fast. Then we're
Okay.
going to move to a hybrid model where people can pay in crypto and in fiat. And we want people to really realize we're not just like any other AI company. We're not just like any other Web3 company. We're merging the two in a way that no one else has done yet.
What types of pricing are you looking at for launch? And then do you have a month-to-month or a yearly service option?
Yeah, so for pricing, we're looking at launching for free at first. That'll be anywhere from 14 days to 30 days.
Okay.
I mean, of course, if our numbers just absolutely go through the roof, like I think they will, we'll go to the paid option sooner so we can provision more servers.
Okay.
But then the first paid tier will be $9.99 per month, and the next one will be $14.99 per month. And that next one will give users early access. And then, of course, there'll be the annual options as well for a discounted rate.
When you look at the pricing structure comparing ChatGPT 4.0 at $20 a month, and then you just mentioned a $14 option for early access, and a $10 option, how do you feel that pricing structure undercutting the competition will give you an advantage?
I feel that our users are going to realize we're not just here for short-term gains.
Okay.
Right? We're not one of those companies who wants to go out and grift about AGI, that we're the only ones building AGI, and that we want to raise a whole lot of money and charge a lot for a subscription right now. What we're concerned about is providing the best possible performance for our users and packaging that in a way that's accessible to anyone, which is why we went with that payment option.
Yep.
Because anyone who's used to GPT 4.0 right now, anyone who's used to Claude will be able to give our model a shot. They'll be able to judge for themselves which one's, like, if it's better, and make that decision to switch over. They're not going to be forced into some payment scheme out the gate.
For an end user that might not be familiar with Arc and the products you are building out, when an end user comes to Reactor, what are the types of features they can expect on the platform?
There's a plethora of features.
Okay.
Not just rolling out a basic, large language model.
Yeah.
We're baking it into a suite of products that will empower our users. So We have the basic web app, which is how ChatGPT first launched, how Claude first launched. That web app will allow you can go to the site, you can talk to our AI, you can compare it side by side to other models. But then you're also going to have a Chrome extension. And this Chrome extension, if the user opts in, it will look into the history of what the user's looking at, and it will have access to the different projects that the user may be thinking about, giving them better context, or giving the AI model better context to help you. It'll have voice mode. So when I'm working on my computer, I can say, hey, Reactor, respond to this email. It'll respond to the email on my screen, draft it, place it in the inbox for later, and then I could focus on the task at hand.
Now that'd be sick.
Yeah, we're going to have a mobile app. And all these features are going to coalesce together to bring an experience of an AI model that isn't just better than other AI models, but that knows you more, that sits on your devices and brings the devices together. Supercharging the user's AI experience.
When you talk about the AI doing tasks for you as an individual, that's what I originally envisioned when it comes to something like Siri or Bixby on a Samsung phone. These types of assistants, as they've progressed, I see the need for AI to be integrated into something like that. And you're saying that the ARC products, Reactor specifically, will have the ability to do assistant type work in the future?
Absolutely. You see OpenAI, they released all those demos over voice mode about a month ago now, but they're holding on to it for now. And we're releasing those same features that they're focused on with voice mode, but not just in the web app, but in the mobile app and in the Chrome extension. So yeah, it'll be like that assistant that knows what you're focused on. Let's say you're a researcher. It'll be able to see the papers that you've been reading. It'll know which parts of the paper you've been focused on for longer. So it can pull those into projects, and those projects will be fine-tuned repositories for the user. And it'll really boost the overall productivity and experience.
Now, another thing that I seen when I was testing out the platform the other day is the ability to have a conversation with the AI model. Right now, I noticed that it could reread the AI's response to you, and you could voice to text in. I thought I heard something yesterday on the live stream that you guys have a model that will be released in the future to where you could have a natural conversation with the AI without skipping back and forth with replay.
Yeah, that's what we're going to have. You'll be able to talk to Reactor like how you and I are talking right now, except Reactor will be much smarter than you or I. When it comes to data, being able to pull the sources together, being able to do your tasks in the background and store them for later.
Now, when it comes to AI overall and the different applications I use as a business owner, one that I really like is the ability to create images. Will Reactor have the ability to create images in the future based on a prompt?
So yeah, in the future, that's one of our ideas, is to integrate Midjourney into the Reactor experience, or develop just our own image generation model ourselves. Still delving into that. But yeah, we want to bring in all the possible
uses.
Benefits. Yeah, and uses. Let's say they're using Reactor. They have the extension, they have the mobile app, so they can talk to Reactor on their phone, on their computer. Maybe they're a graphic designer and they want Reactor to create mock-ups for them as well. I definitely think it should be able to do that.
Right. Now, you mentioned that you may implement Midjourney or create your own image model. when it comes to integrating a third-party provider like Midjourney, do you guys as a business have to pay per use? How does that work when you implement a third party like that?
It would be through their APIs.
Okay.
So, I mean, kind of, if you look at OpenAI with GPT 4.0, with GPT 4 Turbo, they have different API costs for the tokens that you put in. And tokens are words. They're usually about 4 characters long. And based off how many words you input and output, they charge you. So it'll be in a similar approach with any image gen.
It's not a flat rate fee. It's an ongoing basis based on usage.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Like based on the model or based on the prompts used.
Okay. Yeah. Now, when it comes to Web3 and ARK's vision for AI in the blockchain industry, what are your goals and what does the future look like integrating into the Web3 aspect?
Yeah, we want the world to own their AI. We want you to own your data that goes into the AI model and the corresponding outputs that the AI will create. It's going to be a major problem if a centralized company wins the race to AGI, because if they control everyone's data and they control everyone's response to their model, people aren't going to own the tangible pieces of the new economy that's created by AGI. So the real bridge in the Web3 is creating private ownership of AI and dare I say AGI if we're the first ones to make it.
Okay. Now, does the token play an aspect in the service fee getting lower for an individual or governance of the AI overall? What does the token play a role in this whole scenario?
So users will be able to hold the token for access to the model without paying any sort of subscription fees.
Okay.
So let's say you hold 10,000 ARK tokens versus paying a fee. You're going to have access to the early access level tier for the Reactor and for the future iterations of Reactor. If you hold ARK, you're also going to have access to our Earn with ARK program that compensates you fairly for your data. And in the future, there's some other exciting things we're thinking about, but not quite ready to release yet.
What types of user-friendly blockchain tools will you guys develop in the future?
One is actually the original Reactor engine. So, I mean, we weren't an AI focused company first. We were just completely focused on Web3. And through that process, we developed that engine that I mentioned earlier. Well, in the future, we want to open that up to users through our protocol side of the business. So right now, if you go to our site, we have Reactor, we have Protocol, and Protocol is a trading suite. But in the future, it'll be empowered by our AI model. And what users will have is 24/7 audits on smart contracts. So tokens that they may hold, farms that they may be in, liquidity pools that they may be a part of. They'll get alerts 24/7 if functions are changed or if it looks like there's a malicious actor moving money around with like moving a large amount of liquidity around that could affect the token. Yeah. So we want to streamline the whole trading process and holding tokens in Web3 with our AI. Because it's a huge problem right now. You can't just rely on audits that are months and months old, because every time a new product is pushed or there's a new addition to a farm that just changes something ever so slightly, the entire audit could be off.
And the vulnerability for if there's an exploit and somebody else uses a similar contract, if they don't update their contract after that exploit is available, they have the potential to get hit up as well. So if you have an AI model that could train and filter through these different smart contracts and tell you as a developer, hey, this line of code right here needs to change because there's X, Y, and Z exploits over here. Change this to make this go away type of thing. Yeah, I see definitely for developers in the future to use something like that. Now, when you think about from a developer standpoint, I seen multiple users creating lines of code using the Reactor. What types of use cases can you see for a developer using Reactor?
So really anything from the ground up.
Okay.
It's pretty funny. My CTO, he's extremely technically nuanced. He led a very large team at Samsung. He was a core contributor to some really big time technologies that millions of people use today. And other AI models, when it came to developing code, they just break right away. They wouldn't understand the context. They didn't have the context window or the ability to just understand what output he wanted. But with Reactor, he was able to streamline his own coding processes towards Reactor Mark II and towards the features that we're integrating into the future versions of Reactor. So, I mean, anything from your backend, provisioning a server, connecting APIs to your app, to the front end, generating wireframes, generating just different layouts in general, to logic. I mean, one of the popular demo videos for a competitor of ours was where they took Claude and they generated a quantum many-body simulation, which is something it would take hours for a high-level researcher to do. And React is able to do that as well in seconds. So
that's wild. When I think about being a content creator and I have no coding experience, would I be able to use the Reactor to create a website, create an application, create different... I think about like Chrome extensions, different things like that a normal user usually wouldn't be able to do, but with an AI model, they may be able to create.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So, and we can do that process better as well because we can fine tune it. So let's say you want to build an extension. Well, you're doing research on that, right? You're going out there. What libraries do I need to use? Or just how to build an extension 101. React will be able to see that history and aggregate it into your project.
Based on your knowledge?
Yeah, based on your knowledge, based on what you're looking at. But then it also thinks iteratively as well, not like other models. So when you ask a question and it spits out an output, it can self-examine and then provide follow-up questions.
Okay.
You can continue those follow-up questions. So, I mean, an example that I posted the other day in the community was, it was an audit over a smart contract. And I said, I want to know possible vulnerabilities. He gave me possible vulnerabilities. And then it's like, would you like to run a unit test? Oh yeah, I'd love to run a unit test. Ran a unit test. All right. Would you like to import this in a hard hat or truffle? It can think iteratively and follow those steps along. So yeah,
it could train you as an individual as well.
Absolutely. Especially when you talk to it.
Yeah, no, that sounds crazy. So me as an end user, not necessarily knowing how to code, there's the possibility that I could learn how to code or create a product using something like the Reactor.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's really cool. Now, when you think about the intersection of AI and blockchain, what other use cases can you see within the next 6 months, within the next year, 2 years? What do you see for the intersection of these two industries?
Quite a bit. I mean, if you see the news today where Goldman Sachs is tokenizing over $1 trillion worth of assets before now in the end of 2024, There's going to be a huge need to build decentralized oracles to help manage these assets, to help manage the pricing between different liquidity pools where these assets are traded. So going into the future, I could see more people putting AI models, or at least pieces of AI models like transformer heads on blockchain networks. I mean, long term, we have some pretty special plans for that. But yeah, ideally, what it ends up ending in is people own their AI models. They have private ownership. They have sovereignty over their own data. But as far as the steps it's going to take to get there, I'm not sure. Besides that we're trying to get there first, so people can own their models.
Okay, now another thing I just thought about is training an AI model to predict a market and then trade on your behalf. Do you see anything like that in the future to where it's an AI trading bot?
Absolutely. You could build that right now with Reactor.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to say build it and then put your life savings in it or anything. So don't sue me there. But yeah, I mean, I actually did this quite a bit ago. I built a Python script to combine some, I think it was Ornstein and Uhlenbach, a very nascent trading algorithm, along with some data that I provided to trade gold, XAU USD, and got some pretty good results. So yeah, people will be able to build trading bots, and then the economy between these trading bots will be facilitated by AI as well in the future.
That's really cool, because I think about the time it took me as an individual to learn about charting and learn about the different retraces that a chart may do and the different types of trading structures to look for in a chart. An AI model, you could train that to point out different sections within a chart to where history may repeat itself, or what the AI predicts will happen next based on what has happened in the history. There's lots of different cool things you can do there. And like you said, you don't need to put a lot into a bot that's trading for you. Even if you started with $20 or $50 just to test it out and see if the model you are thinking about has legs, if it's something that could in the long term produce, even if it's 5% per year. I think that'd be really cool based on that $20, $50, $100 you put in, just to see if an AI model could create revenue for you as an individual.
Yeah, it will. And it's really funny how some strategies will come out in the future after people have already used them and they don't work anymore. One of those is Bitcoin. If you would have just bought Bitcoin when the New York market opened and then sold when the Asian market started, from, I believe it was 2018 to 2021, you'd be up over 10,000%.
Wow.
Crazy results. And when it comes to seeing patterns like those, it can be very difficult for us humans, because we blend our
emotions.
Our emotions, the different loaves of consciousness we have, and we're not as objective as an AI model can be. And for the first time in history, we have models that are more capable of taking our emotions, our ideas, our creativity, what makes us human, and building it into a system that sits on your computer. So you can build something that's unemotional, that will stick to your system in a way that you might not when you're not feeling good, or when you think you see an opportunity and then opportunity ends up hitting your stop loss. AI won't do that.
Man, I'm so excited about the potential for AI over the next 5 years and how our lives are about to change. I think most people in the world are not ready for the transition that is happening. And the people that are first movers who understand this technology and are already using it in their daily lives, they have an advantage moving forward. It's like when computers first came about. I remember when I was in middle school, we had a computer class, and that was the only class I really liked in middle school. And when you transition into high school and you having the ability to buy a personal computer, I'm really showing my age here, but you look at transitioning from only having computers in schools to having a personal computer, and then you transition into mobile phones and tablets and laptops and all this new technology. When you look at the progression, yeah, these last 20 years have been incredible. We have had lots of advancements in technology. AI is only going to increase at tenfold. I think the rate at which the future is about to change is it's gonna be so rapid that most people will not adapt. If you're not looking into this technology, you may get left behind. I remember, I think it was last week, my mom was talking about getting a cell phone. She has no cell phone. She's 60 years old. And I think about that and I'm like, man, there's no way I'm getting to 60 years old and I'm not going to understand AI. So I'm putting the work in now to make sure I'm future proof in a sense.
Yeah. And I mean, we're hitting that exponential curve of growth of human knowledge. And it's so important that the bricks of the future economy are decentralized to where people like you and I can still own different pieces of them. And we appreciate with the economy. I mean, we can't repeat what we have before in history. And you can look at every revolution that happened from the agricultural revolution. It made the landowners very wealthy. To the industrial revolution, it was the people who owned the machines, created companies around those machines. So it was even smaller units of operation.
Within the industry, yep.
Yeah, it was even more decentralized than the agricultural revolution. And what we can't do is go from where we are now to a system where just one company rules it all. And everyone's data is filtered through this one monolithic AI system that's used to rank the data, to trace the data to its origin, to build better models of the future. Because if people don't own that, I mean, it is going to be pretty dystopian. People are going to have to get on universal basic income, but if people can actually own the AI, it's going to be another revolution that brings humanity forwards.
When I look at my subscription to ChatGPT, I would like to eliminate that service and transition into something that has the potential to be decentralized in the future and the ability to own my data. I feel like I've put a lot of data into OpenAI and ChatGPT at this point. I would like to transition into something else. So over the coming months, I would like to chat with you and give you ideas based on how I use AI and talk to the different developers and see what types of other improvements we could add or features in the future to where Reactor can be an everyday product for end users.
Yeah, I love that. And especially with your Android phone, I mean, we can probably get our pilot homomorphic model out on that phone and get your thoughts.
That's crazy. All right. So one last thing to close out the interview. When the product launches for full access next week, will you guys have an Android and iOS application, or will that come in the near future?
So that'll be in the near future. Next week, you're going to have the web app, so you can visit on your PC or Mac. You can also visit it on your phone. We just won't have the mobile application yet. Mobile application, the Chrome extension, voice mode. I almost slipped up. I'm actually not supposed to announce this yet. They will come soon afterwards.
Without going into too much detail about the dates, could you give us an example of what you're thinking in the next 30 days, in the next 3 months, 6 months? When could we expect the Chrome extension and the mobile applications to be available?
Well, technically, if it's within the next 30 days, that means it's also within the next 3 to 6 months, right?
Okay.
So I'll just say 3 to 6 months.
Okay, that's great. Well, this has been the Reactor AI meets blockchain, presented by ARC. Thank you for being here, TJ. I appreciate your time, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Joshua.
The Crypto News Podcast with your host, Joshua Roomsberg. Follow and subscribe today.